Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to the Master of Ceremony, our guests of honors, respected jurists and undeniable integrity, ladies and gentlemen. Alhamdulillah, no word should be spoken apart from the gratitude of the presence of Allah for the blessing given to us all so that we can gather in this modest room in good health. Salawat and greetings to our Prophet Muhammad. First and foremost, let us be on this stage to deliver a few words, not that we're the best, but because this is a mandate. Then we dare to appear in front of Mr. and Mrs. and all colleges. So here I am to talk about the current and worldwide ongoing issue and enlighten all of you with a speech on water management. We all know that Earth's entire life cycle is air, water, and fruit, and no one can live without them. Water is said to be a priceless resource, and each drop counts. Can only use 1% of the water on the planet. Even though it makes up 70% of the total volume, most of the household tasks cannot be even completed without water. Also, in industries, it is used for preparations of goods and products. Furthermore, it is used in transportation too. As a result, we must use our limited water resources wisely. Now, let's talk about water management. Water management is one of the crucial methods to save water in the 21st century. This process is all about safely using water to minimize pollution. So, why do we need a clear-cut water management system? The first reason is our water security is important to us because clean water is limited and valuable. The second reason is natural resources protection is important to the environment and a basic demand for all operations from local users to agriculture and industry. The third reason is the human population's steady growth has led to extreme demands for water supplies. The fourth and final reason is that today the exploitation in the channel, the bay, the reservoir, and groundwater is seriously limited and could well continue to worsen for years. Therefore, attempts to conserve water need to be accelerated and protection of water needs seriously need to be taken into account. Since I am presenting before you a speech on saving water, it is my duty to enlist before you the needs of saving water. Water is a finite resource that is in short supply. Although water covers 71% of our world, just 3% of it is fresh water. Just 1% of the 3% is accessible, with the other 2% frozen in glaciers and ice caps. This means that 1% of the Earth's populations, including humans, animals, and plants, must be sustained solely on its own. Water is a limited resource that cannot be replenished. We will have less of it in the future if we do not conserve it while the population expands. Water is needed for survival. This is the most obvious incentive to save water. To live, we need water. Not only do we need it to survive, but it is also important to our way of life. Water is needed for the potential viability of the food we consume, crops, and livestock. We will have to rely on other sustainable food sources such as insects and bugs if we didn't have enough water. Although this is feasible, it is still preferable to concentrate on what you can do to ensure the long-term sustainability of our current way of life. Water deficiency makes it more difficult to generate those crops that need it. As a result, such goods will become limited or be priced higher. Members of the floor, moving further in this speech on saving water, you must look at the techniques to save water. Water management can be achieved in several ways. If we use water sparingly and take sufficient action to save it, the small water supplies will last for a long time. If we gather rainwater, the annual water shortage that we face will be reduced. We may store rainwater in canals, dams, lakes, tanks, and other systems. This water can be used in the house, in factories, and in agricultural operations. By building massive canals and ponds around villages and towns, we can provide relief to water-stressed regions. Groundwater is underground water that we draw from wells, hand pumps, and other sources. Groundwater levels are declining as a result of increased groundwater mining and its usage. When groundwater levels increase, we should protect it by building dams, lakes, and other structures. Land waste must be also addressed because it pollutes groundwater. Water reservoirs. The key resources of water are rivers, ponds, reservoirs. So, it's necessary to preserve them. Water contamination is the most serious harm to these water supplies. It would be impossible for us to get drinking water if these major water supplies are drained. Thus, by avoiding rising water contamination, we should protect rivers, pools, and reservoirs. In conclusion, if someone had proposed selling pure water 10 years ago, I'm sure he might have gotten a nice laugh of being mocked. Mineral or even filtered water, on the other hand, now a multi-billion dollar company. People are willing to pay 3 ringgits for a water bottle. Given the fact that we all know how difficult it is to get pure or clean water. One thing is certain, we will run out of clean water in the future, and there's an urgent need to drive our attention to saving water. With this, I've come to an end of my speech on saving water. Thank you for listening to my speech. And again, the good comes from Allah, the less come from myself. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.